Man, we are here on time, which is a positive thing. You
A
can,
little bit smoother start tonight than last night.
yes, you can only see my big dumb face today because we are doing the four screen. So you can see up in the top left is the chat, which will also show the live stream of picks going on at the time. There will be a slight lag. I am using my phone, which is right in front of me as the camera, because the normal camera is what is filming the that corner of the screen. Of course, I am flying Ryan Gokers along with
Tampa Motormouth Joel Verone, and there was a little bit of a logistical challenge before everything started.
technology. Just
You,
sucks, man. It really
you
does.
can sort of fill us in because initially we had done a podcast where we picked all the live order that we were going to draft in,
Yeah,
but
we do a draw, we do a lottery, we send out the video, we get it set up,
But then
and then
Flyin had to do some
an
changes
hour
with some
beforehand,
settings.
I'm doing a mock draft on Sleeper, and I'm just looking at this and going, these teams are too thin with five on the bench. Frankly, it's just this is such a deep league. You have injuries. You're going to end up cutting someone you shouldn't need to cut for bye weeks and injury concerns. So I said, okay, we got to bump this back up to six, which is fair. We were at seven, we went down to six, went down to five, then back to six, where it's actually the standard. When I did that at 6:38, it changed and deleted the draft settings entirely. It got rid of the custom order we built. So I'm like, okay, cool. I got my notebook. My notebook is now sitting about 3 feet away from me. Cool. I'm going to go in real quick, fix this back to normal. You can't make changes within an hour of the draft time. And of course, we're drafting at 7:30 in 5 minutes and 45 seconds. So then I promptly deuce myself. I just go, oh crap. I've got all these people. And now, given I know not all 15 of you in this league with myself know your draft order in advance. Some of you probably never watched the video, didn't know where you were drafting. I do know Nick and Rob, who are drafting 1 and 2, for sure knew where they're drafting. If they're all of a sudden drafting at 13 and 9, they're going to go, what the hell, man? What happened? So I panic. Get in touch with Yahoo. They were actually very, very helpful. They said, hey, you're going to have to push the draft back. We can put it back to 7:30, but you're going to have to push it back, make the change, and let me know. And then I will put it back. So I did have Zach let me know. He got a notification, an email saying it had been changed to 9. He also got my reply out to the league saying, hey, no, ignore that. It is still 7:30. And we'll see. Hopefully we get a good turnout today. So far, we have a light crowd right now. Only 6 in the lobby. I know I've had 2 people
Ryan
reach out
really wasn't
today.
trying a Jedi mind trick to try to get people to not come.
Yes. So a little bit of panic. Also, I want to note, if you see the screen go dark at any point, that is just me trying to do something on my phone. It is temporary. You could hear me when that happened, right, Joel?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going through the other monitor. So I'm going to send out a couple texts. The screen's going to go dark just so I can get these reminders out to people.
Yeah, we actually have a comment from Chris here. You were changing roster positions and didn't remove kickers change.
Yeah, he hates kickers, and I've said multiple times because he and I agree, kickers aren't real people. They shouldn't have a place in football or fantasy football, especially. But that being said, we've tried, and people seem to like kickers. So, Chris, I apologize. You're gonna have to live with it at least one more year.
There's a certain Buffalo Bills kicker that's not kicking tonight.
He's a punter, but
Yeah.
he still doesn't have feelings, and he clearly doesn't have a soul. But anyways, we're not going to talk anything about that. We're going to quickly go over the draft order that was panicked and reset.
Very dark story.
Yeah, so the draft order that was reset, reset, panic, got help, reset again. Number 1, Nick with Hell's Kittens. Number 2, Chris, who's already commenting about kickers. Julian Peddleman at number 2. Scott Jibat at 3. I'm at 4. South Florida Sharks. Got my custom jersey on for that. No Quitters, Go Getters at 5. That's John. New addition Anthony took the place of Brian. Brian dropped that last minute. Still hasn't changed the name. He's still $5 foot long. He'll change down the line. Corey Stay Mahomes at 7. Joel Semper Sarcasm at 8. John from GMS at 9. Soul Boys Tom Ho at number 10. Nate with Figure Ballers at number 11. Scoregasms RS. That is Zach. He's the one who's mock draft with us a couple times. He is at 12. Edwin with Out of Nowhere. I'm guessing Tom Brady at number 13 overall, by the way. He is at number 13. Corbin with Tua, Infinity, and Beyond, number 14. Adam, Big Daddy Cheeks at 15. And Greg with World Ending Talent, rounding out the back end of this draft with pick number 16. We are about half full now. I have seen a couple other people bounce in and out. So hopefully we'll get everybody in here shortly. I know 16-team leagues, it's tough to get everybody in at once. So 2 minutes, 5 seconds. We are about ready to go. So, Joel, technology is just so much fun. And for what it's worth, we are playing for the trophy this year. I have it. If I do it this way, you're not going to really see it unless you want to see it in, like, coming in and out of frame. Woo. Yep, that's what we're playing for. I am the defending champ, beat Joel in the championship game. Joel, I don't remember who you played in the semifinals, but I know Chris came in third. He lost to my team in the semifinals when my team had, I think, the highest score in the last 3 seasons, so no shame there. But yeah, draft time once again. Minute and a half draft timers. A fair warning to everybody out there. This is a very, very, very long draft, especially if you drop in and out. Turn on that auto pick off every time you drop in. Yeah, that's going to make this long. So you're looking at least probably 2 hours. I've got a water and a Gatorade sitting here ready to go because the vocal cords will get dry. 1 minute to go.
My G fuel is ready.
Yeah, so let's see. We are still waiting on some people to join, but things happen. It'll pop up on a notification on their phone shortly saying the draft has begun, and that should pull the rest of the people in that that are going to join. So again, 16 teamer, you're not going to get all 16. That's just not really realistic. Let me send one more reminder. So I'm going to go dark for just a second. And under 30 seconds to go. All right, 15. Joel, what are you thinking for this draft? I know it's a bear. I know it's a deep, deep league. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking that unless somebody really amazing, you got to go RB.
Yeah, RB early seems to be the smart play in the drafts. It's hard to get him back when it comes around. No surprise, Jonathan Taylor 1. I'm pretty sure who's going number 2. Yep, Christian McCaffrey. Scott at 3 has a few options here. They actually are recommending Justin Jefferson based on ADP. The ADP in this is considerably different than it is on Sleeper, which we have been using for our mock draft. So if you see something that's a little strange, that would be the cause of it. So Scott is in Colorado. I know he said he's got shaky connection, so hopefully no issues on his end with making draft picks. He goes Austin Eckler. And, let's see. I went Justin Jefferson last night, so let's go. Let's double up on it. I like Justin Jefferson early. Yeah, let's do it. Let's play the RB risk game. I don't like going a wide receiver early, but when you're getting what I'm hoping is going to be the number 1 guy, I think it's well worth the risk. Cooper Kupp goes right after. So it looks like still roughly 50% attendance on this, which will help this go quicker, which honestly is not the worst
off
thing
the board. Dalvin Cook off
Dalvin
the board.
Cook was someone I was kicking around at that last pick. Derrick Henry, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs. Henry goes. So Chase, Diggs, Harris, Lamb, Mixon, Devontae Adams, and Aaron Jones. Top few on the board for Joel, who is on the clock now. And he goes Najee. What's the reasoning there? Because I know there's a bunch of good options. Just you want to get the best running back available.
Got to get rest running back. The absolute key is running back depth.
All right. So again, 16 team, 1 quarterback, 2 wide receiver, 2 running back. Oh, it actually has a flex and oh man, they changed this up. So we're actually going to have an extra flex this year. Yes, this little kerfuffle with changing one thing changed a lot. So it actually has a wide receiver tight end flex. Oh, no, it didn't change that. I'm just breathe. It's draft time. Wide receiver tight end in place of the tight end and a regular flex, kicker defense, and 6 bench position, I believe it's 2 IR spots as well. CeeDee Lamb and Stephon Diggs going. So you're starting to see a little bit of the wide receivers come off the board after those top
Still
end.
available: Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, DeAndre Swift, Saquon Barkley, and Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, there's still some pretty good options. Chubb, Kamara Hill, Javonte, Michael Pittman Jr., Mark Andrews, Deebo Samuel just behind that. A long wait when you're at number 4. In this kind of draft, I know it's not popular for most people to be in the middle, but in this type of draft, I think it helps you out. You don't have to plan for 28 picks between 4 and 28.
Wideouts, we still have Adams, Evans, Hill, Pittman, and Samuel available. Tight ends, as we're looking in the flex position.
Remember, tight end is not mandatory in this one. You can go without. That's the beauty of that wide receiver tight end flex. Go ahead.
So you tend to have, I think the first one I see available, Travis Kelce.
Yeah, Kelce. I think you're going to see Kelce. You're going to see Andrews. You're going to see Kittle. You're going to see those top end guys, maybe down to like Dalton Schultz and Dawson Knox area. Maybe you'll get that deep. But I think there's going to run out of wide receivers at some point.
Saquon Barkley off the board at 14th. Aaron Jones 15th.
All right, so we are moving right along, almost through round number 1, which has only taken almost 3-4 minutes so far. 4 minutes now, so not too bad.
Swift goes 16th.
Yeah, so not too bad so far on the pace of things. As long as the auto pick players are going to stay off, it's going to take 10 seconds per player.
Mike Evans.
Yep. So Joel, I know
Alvin Kamara picked 18th overall.
Yeah. Joel, I do want to remind you, it shows it right on the screen. You don't have to read out every single pick. But let's see. You've got about 7 or so picks between you and your next pick. Any thoughts on where you're thinking of going, or not wanting to reveal that much quite yet?
Not wanting to reveal quite that much yet.
Yeah, because I know I'm sure Zach's going to pop in and out of the live stream. I see Chris has already commented. So we've got some people that might be in this draft trying to get some information if we decide to spill a little too much. So first tight end off the board does go to out of nowhere at 20. That was the one who would have taken Tom Brady at number 13 if he had been in it. So this might actually help that team out, auto drafting. Zach now on the clock. Probably gonna have to go dark here because one of our people is trying to get in touch.
Nick Chubb off the board.
Yes, and that was to Figure Ballers, who will be joining here in just a second to bring one more live person in. Not a bad start though. I mean, early on, it's really hard to get too in the weeds with your auto pick. So Figure Ballers is going to auto CeeDee Lamb and Nick Chubb go the rest of the way, hopefully live. Joel on the clock, Chubb, Williams, Michael Pittman at 24. And Joel chooses to go with the tight end. What's the logic there?
Might be a bit of a reach, but best available option.
Deebo to stay Mahomes. Let's see. 2 picks between me and my next pick. I went Justin Jefferson early, so I'm really hoping I can get a couple of good running backs here soon. I'm really hoping that the next auto pick is not Zeke, honestly, at this point, but it probably will be. Yes, it is. So now what do you do? Because you can really go high risk here and maybe go wide receiver heavy. Hope to make those running backs up a little bit later. There are some options down the line I don't hate. But the problem is that the next group of guys I like is actually projected to be there at my next pick. So let's go get a running back in James Conner. I don't love it as my running back 1, but he's got some PPR upside, and he should be the number 1 in town there easily. Jibat, first quarterback off the board with Josh Allen. That was a consideration there. just because in this type of league, early quarterback can be a positional advantage. And I firmly believe the top end of this draft is going to be absolutely brutal. I've drafted enough with Rob and Nick to know that them being back-to-back is going to be interesting down the line here a little bit, because they get information from similar sources, and I know they have some same opinions. Now let's see what's going on with this. There we go, camera back. That's going to be annoying when people have to reach out to me and it's like, oh yeah, here you go. Keenan Allen at pick number 31. So that is a CMC Keenan Allen start. Corbin liking the pace so far. Hopefully it stays that way. And only time will tell. But almost through the second round, and it hasn't been 20 minutes. So I think we're on to something there. Kyle Pitts, second tight end off the board, I believe.
Might help when it's actually not the second draft in a row that night.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts, then Mike Williams. So that's one of those guys I was possibly hoping would get back to me. I didn't think it would, knowing who was in front of me coming back. But yeah, here we go into round number 3. We'll take a look at some starts here after I make my pick in a couple minutes here. But yeah, Joel, how are you feeling early? I know it's a little tough.
So always, because you just whatever strategy you had usually is blown out of the water after the first 5 seconds.
AJ Dillon in the third. Now, given this third round is comparable to more leagues, like early fourth, I know ADP wise it's going to be a little bit of a reach, but I think the talent's there. I think the upside is there for sure. Okay, now back to me. I have to really think about where I'm going to be able to go on my next pick, which is a ways away. It's going to get shallow very quickly. So do you take the best player available, or do you take the position that you feel you need to cover? God, I hate this. I hate these deep drafts. It's just so much harder to do this. I don't trust Elijah Mitchell. I don't trust Cam Akers. I don't trust a lot of these running backs in this zone. So we're going to go with one Courtland Sutton here. Sutton, Jefferson, Connor is the start I've got. Let's go to let's talk from the top of the draft. Jonathan Taylor, Mike Williams, Kyle Pitts for Hell's Kittens. Going fairly aggressive with the tight end pick early. And then we'll go to Chris. Chris saying most mocks he got Dillon with the 4th pick, but he didn't think he was going to get back. There's a pretty good chance that wouldn't happen. I know if he was there at my next pick, he would have been in play, even though it's a little bit of a retch.
Zach just commented with half the teams on auto, LOL.
Yeah, so No Quitters Go Getters did join and then backed out. That's why we have this longer than average pause, because it turned off the auto. Like I said, this is what can slow you down. But Peddleman, Christian McCaffrey, AJ Dillon, and Keenan Allen, not a bad start there. Of course, AJ Dillon going to be splitting with Aaron Jones, but should have plenty of work on his own. And then Joel, I know you've only got 2 picks, Najee and Mark Andrews. Interesting start there as well. As we wait for the next 10, 12 seconds for this timer to run out, we'll see the next auto pick, which should be A.J. Brown if it goes based on the Yahoo X rank, which is what they typically do.
Uno.
And it is A.J. Brown. So now we continue back to, usually we have a few less auto-drafted teams. Hopefully everybody's paying attention, at least in some capacity. Breece Hall, not too shabby there. $5 footlong. Yeah. Joel, you've got a couple picks. It's an auto. Who are you thinking? Oh, Elijah Mitchell there. So it is on to Joel quickly with Travis Etienne. There's a lot of upside. I was kicking him around, but I just don't trust it with a 3rd round pick. I think I trust Courtland Sutton a little bit more, but if Etienne does what he thinks, what some people are saying he's going to do, going to be a good pick there at pick number 40. Polarizing Allen Robinson. Corbin not happy about Akers going. I can't say I blame him because that would have been a solid. That would have been solid the end of this type of third round because that's a 5th round option there. Almost through 3 rounds. We're averaging about 4 or 5 minutes a round, which is surprisingly quick.
Somebody going to reach up for Lamar Jackson.
Somebody will. I don't think Lamar Jackson will be an option for me when it gets back to me. I'm not saying I would have went Lamar Jackson at that pick anyways. I think Jackson, Herbert, Mahomes probably don't make it out of the 4th round, especially with this many autos as we've got right now. Like I said, there is a slight advantage in this type of league where you take a quarterback early. You do have a positional advantage over the ones who wait and go with a Jameis Winston, Trevor Lawrence, who maybe you don't know what you're going to get. If you take Justin Herbert, you know he's going to do some pretty good numbers. Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, all of those guys.
Hey, Deshaun Watson's going to always be available.
Yeah, I mean, in a league like this, it wouldn't surprise me if he gets drafted and stashed. Especially if you're someone like me who tends to wait a little bit longer on quarterbacks. I was the last one to take it last year and got bailed out by a trade. So I don't want to say for sure I'm going to wait again, but that's been the norm. Jalen Waddle, that's a good, interesting pick there, of course, with Tyreek in town. Almost through round number 3. And let's see. Let's take a look at some more teams while we're on this topic. Let's look at Zach. He's been live drafting with us. I know Corbin's a big-time homer, so he's appreciative that Waddle's not there. Waddle, Mixon, Leonard Fournette for Zach. I think that's as solid of a start as you can get in this deep of a league. It's always tough to find that value a little bit later. Let's look at Big Daddy Cheeks. That is Adam, Deontay Johnson, Aaron Jones, and Alvin Kamara. I know in the 10-team league he had Kamara and Barkley. I actually like this better, even though I think Barkley is projected a little bit better. There goes Lamar at the end of the 3rd round. Like I said, with the autos, they're going to take some picks you wouldn't necessarily do. And again, I don't think Herbert gets back to me. I don't think Herbert gets back to you even. And we'll see. It's going to get real thin, real quick. So buckle up. It's going to, I'm telling you, by round 7, round 8, you're going to start going, man, this just feels like such a bad pick. Gabe Davis, a reach, but I don't hate it. Gabriel Davis, the 3rd-year receiver for the Buffalo Bills, moving into a more prominent role. There goes Herbert. I think Gabe Davis will be very, very good, but again, slightly unproven. Did have the big playoff game with 4 touchdowns against the Chiefs. Just a little bit tough. And then it looks like we have World-Ending Talent has joined. So we're getting some people in. I think there are some people that maybe didn't think about it or forgot about it, or just maybe got confused with all the confusion we had with all the draft order issues. So Zach is back on the clock. Then 3 autos. Hopefully, Nate with Figure Balls will get in soon. He said he was almost in, so maybe he's dealing with an elbow surgery recovery as well. So maybe he's just a little slower to do things with his hands. I don't know. He's in California. Wishing him the best on his recovery.
Yeah, that can't be fun. I remember from fracturing my wrist, so elbow.
Yeah, going to go dark here. Yeah, going back to all the issues we had with tech last night, I've had to modify the setup so badly that I have to use the camera on the phone because for whatever reason, it wouldn't work on the new laptop, and I don't understand why. But I wanted to make sure we had this nice little screen right here
Ryan
so we could see everything going on.
Reverse the polarity and reverse the polarities of the reversing of the de-reversing of the.
Jalen Hurts before Pat Mahomes. I don't hate it. I don't hate that at all. Figure Ballers goes Darren Waller. Again, tight end not required in this league. there will be a time and place where you're going to get value. George Kittle going to be a value. There goes Pat Mahomes. Joel about to be back on the clock. The auto pick here would be George Kittle. And there's Nate just after his pick. So Joel on the clock. He has so far, let's see, what have you done so far? What have you done? 2 running backs and a tight end. So probably time for receiver for Joel. He could go anywhere still. There is a thought, go deep with the, other options, but I personally would not want to go that shallow at wide receiver. You're going to start running out of options real fast. Jerry Jeudy, I don't dislike that pick at all. There is the potential upside. Again, I like Courtland Sutton better this year, but Jerry Jeudy very well may be the wide receiver one for a revamped Broncos offense with Russell Wilson at quarterback. And then a couple auto picks here coming up. Brandon Cooks and possibly Antonio Gibson. This is the price to me of auto drafting. Is you're going to get someone who is now primarily a kick returner, I think. So Antonio Gibson in the 4th round, I feel like is an anchor. But if you show up for the draft, you don't have this problem. But apparently he's hopped in and hopped out, so he is now on the clock for another minute and 8 seconds. So we've got time to look at what this team has done so far as we look at no quitters, go-getters. Not too bad for an auto pick team, but it's hard to really screw it up early. Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown, and Zeke Elliott. Kind of wish Zeke wouldn't have went, but that's how auto picks go. 45 more seconds. Joel, how are you feeling so far with what you've accomplished with your roster?
No, not exactly what I was originally planning, but it's sort of like a combat no plan survives contact with the actual draft.
Yeah, we are down to 6 auto drafters. So that's pretty close to the normal. Usually we have 11 or 12, 10 to 12 live drafters, and then some that just for whatever reason work or whatever. They just decide, hey, I'm going to auto and not really worry about it. So 10 seconds left on this pick. It should be the aforementioned Antonio Gibson. He is the top of the board. 2 wide receivers already of this roster, so that'll fill that one out. And that is going to leave let's go. I'm going to play a game here where I'm going to take Chase Edmonds. I think he's got a lot of upside. It's going to be a much more explosive offense, and I kind of think one of the guys I'm looking at also in this group will fall back to me. We'll see. 6 picks that I'm playing a gambling game to see if one of the 2 or 3 guys I really like stay. Knowing who I'm playing against and playing with, not a guarantee. Just a reminder, everybody, at the end of this, there's going to be players on these rosters. You go, what the hell is going on? Corbin saying, legit feel bad for people picking tight ends. Like I said, once you get past about where we've drafted, it's going to not necessarily be in your best interest. It might be better later to have Dalton Schultz over Christian Kirk, for example, but you're also getting Christian Kirk a lot later. So to each their own. Unfortunately, if you don't join the draft, you don't have total control in those auto picks. Eventually, tight end's just going to stack at the top. All right, so Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown to Jaibat, and then Elijah Moore to Peddleman, as to Chris, who has been the vocal one in the chat. So I'm surprised I haven't been sniped worse by the first 3 in this draft. I really am, because I expected it a lot worse. Maybe I'm doing the sniping to them. I don't know. Figure Baller's left, so he'll be back when it gets closer to his pick. I am sure. Once you get in, it's tough to really properly leave. All right, let's look at some more teams. Try and find one that is live drafting. Let's go to Jaibat once again. Josh Allen, DJ Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Austin Eckler. I know how much you love DJ Moore, so I think that's going to be a part of his lineup you're not a fan of. As
Definitely
Clyde
not.
Edwards-Helaire wraps out round number 4.
Or as I like to call him, BJ Less.
Yeah, he's not Joel's favorite guy, but You got to do what you got to do here. So Dameon Pierce at pick 65. That would
Two picks
have
away
been
from 2 picks more for flying.
the pick I had went with, but I did not expect him to get back to me with Nick and Chris at the top two there coming around, knowing where they get some of their information from and all of that. So not a huge surprise. You have to do some reaching to get the guys you want. That was a little bit of a reach by ADP and by X rank, but I don't think that's going to be a bad decision as we get towards the end of the season. One pick before mine, and let's do some positional highlighting here. Running backs, best available per the ADP, X rank, whatever metric they're using. Devin Singletary, Miles Sanders, Rashad Penny, Tony Pollard, Ramondre Stevenson, Melvin Gordon, Kareem Hunt, Cordero Patterson, Kenneth Walker, Darrell Henderson Jr., James Cook, Naeem Hines, James Robinson, the best handful on the board. So you can see how it gets thin really, really quickly as it gets to me. And with that sentiment in mind, I think it's a good time to go after that next running back, even though I'd much rather go get depth at the wide receiver position. But I don't love any of these options. That is the hard part. But I don't love any of the options coming up later. It's just a real, real poor situation. Oh boy. The temptation is also there to go quarterback here. It is. It's not strong, but it is there. I'm going to hold off on the quarterback. I'm going to go Tony Pollard. I think he's got PPR upside. He's going to be used more in the passing game than anything. He's going to have some value. He's similar enough to the A.J. Dillon role that I think he's going to be a viable option. He will be the running back 3 for my team now. Juju immediately after. That's interesting. Dealing with a bit of a knee injury to date. $5 foot long goes with Singletary. So let's look at $5 foot long. Again, this is now Anthony. Did not join us yet. T. Higgins, Brandon Cook, Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall, and Devin Singletary. Not a bad start, even though there's a couple names in there you wouldn't necessarily think are super flashy. Ramondre to Joel. That was somebody I had a thought of. Miles Sanders dealing with a hamstring. That was the reason I backed off of him. If he's not healthy and hamstrings can linger, I didn't want to bank on him. He was roughly not great. Figure Ballers taking Tom Brady here at pick number 75.
So Edwin's heart breaks somewhere.
Well, I mean, he could have had him at 13 if he had joined the draft. That's on Edwin. Zach now on the clock, almost through round number 5, only 25 minutes in. So 5 minutes per round is actually pretty good for this type of league. I believe the total draft time last year was about 2 hours and 15 minutes, if I remember correctly.
I believe so, yeah.
And fortunately, we had Chris doing some of the legwork last year, so I think at the end he actually had to go take a nap. It was that intense. But by the end of this one, I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to take a nap too, and I still got to figure out dinner. So, if only the night was not going to be busy after.
Well, did you end up deciding to go out, or did you cook in? I remember you were having that
last night. I ended up with all the issues and trying to get the tech. I didn't actually wrap up figuring out what I had to do to make this work until about 10:30. So I just threw something in the microwave here and made do with what was available. So probably going to be on a similar track tonight, but
it's sort of like when you're so focused, you don't want to go anywhere. You're like, I want to get this solved.
Yeah, it was frustrating because, well, this is the normal setup. What we've got now with the 4 screens, a camera on me, camera on Joel. We've got the space filler, the fantasy football preseason special. And that is just so the ratios look right. And then we've got the window so you can see what's actually going on in the draft because we don't have the high-tech technology to have, the live stream of the draft board itself because we're frankly just too cheap to buy that. But at the end of the day, you still want people to see if you're gonna live stream, you want to be able to see what's going on. Christian Kirk, Kareem Hunt. I like the Kareem Hunt pick. That was somebody I was kind of hoping would get back. I didn't have a whole lot of faith it would happen. It was something I was hoping for, at least. Let's go to the wide receivers. Talk about what's left on the board. A little bit more of an option here. Darnell Mooney, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Hunter Renfrow, Adam Thielen, Devontae Smith, Alan Lazard, who is actually a little bit lower in Yahoo than they are on Sleeper. Tyler Lockett, Chris Godwin, Robert Woods, Russell Gage, Kadarius Toney, Drake London. The next few on the board there. I guess we'll go over tight end. I don't think. Well, no, I can't even go over tight end because we don't have a dedicated tight end slot. For tight ends, though, Dallas Goedert, TJ Hawkinson, Dawson Knox, Zach Ertz. There will be some value at times with them, and then I think you kind of lose the point until you pick very late in draft with Webenam, Pat Freiermuth, Cole Kmet, David Njoku, Hunter Henry. So there's some guys later that if you really need something to fill that flexible spot with the wide receiver tight end flex, there's options. They're not spectacular options, but they are there at the very least. We are officially through 5 rounds. Thielen goes next. That was somebody with Justin Jefferson, even though I like him, could not go after. So I'm happy to see him off the board well before my pick. Slowing down as we have more people in. There goes Hunter Renfrow. Dangerous player around the goal line, Russell Wilson. That was somebody I was hoping would fall to pair with Cortland Sutton, but no luck.
I legit just put Hunter Renfrow on my queue, and he was taken. I mean, literally, like, oh, he sounds like a good idea. Whoop.
Yeah, you're starting to get to the point where the casual fantasy football player is going to start running out of names.
There goes Marquise Brown, who I had on the queue.
Yeah. So, question from Nick. So I'm going to answer that and go dark. Why is the tight end slot say it's a wide receiver flex? Because we changed it. Because it was a requested change. Yeah, I really have to find another way to do this next year.
Ooh, sorry in advance.
Alan Lazard, that's fine. Wasn't on the board in my mind for the next pick. I will just say that. So as I'm going to come back on screen now. Anyways, 3 picks till mine. Trey Lance going. That's interesting. That was someone that was in contention for my next pick, but obviously not going to go that way anymore. And back to me. Oh boy, this is where it gets rough. This is where I'm going to go and get my stack. I think no.
There goes Cordell.
No. I would like to go get my stack with Justin Jefferson. However, there's a 2-time MVP reigning on the board. So we're going to go Aaron Rodgers here and really anger Chris. Friendly reminder: check the rostered positions because the tight end's not a big deal this year. That being said, the tight ends that have already come off the board, for example, with Hell's Kittens, Mike Williams, Jonathan Taylor, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Dameon Pierce, and then Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is possibly one of the better wide receiving options out there. So some of them will still work out. Some of them won't. Anybody now getting a tight end, I think, is not going to be in great shape. Did you already take a quarterback, Chris? Oh, he did. He took Kyler Murray. Huh. Interesting. Well, so much for me. Well, you wouldn't take him with AJ Dillon probably, but so much for the anger play. But I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers over Kirk Cousins. I don't think that's unreasonable or unexpected. The only reason to go for Cousins there would have been for the stack. And frankly, the stack's not that important. Almost through round number 6. There goes Chris Godwin coming back from the ACL. Should be an interesting back end of the season. I don't think you're going to see much early. I think he's going to take some time to get back into the flow. Maybe by week 8, week 9. That's going to be an absolute steal of a pick. I don't think you're going to get a lot of value the first couple of weeks, but that's just normal for someone coming off of that severe of an injury. Hell's Kittens on the clock to round out round number 6.
Yeah, that's definitely a late league pick.
Yeah. You're going to start running into the tight end logjam at the top of the ADP list. That being said, you're also starting to fall to the point of the wide receivers not having the same value and some of these higher end tight ends being valuable. You do have that flex spot. But it's an interesting dynamic. It is in a trial period. It was what was it, about 2 weeks before we made the change, let people give some feedback. Nobody really had any opposition to it. So we're going to try it this year. If we hate it and we don't like it, it will be gone next year. We'll bring back the normal tight end position. But maybe it works out better. I don't know. We're trying to make a 16-team league a little less brutal because that tight end 16 is basically a 0 every week, it seems like. All right, waiting on Jaibat, who is on the clock. They have been drafting, but they are, like I said, in Colorado, dealing with some reception issues right now. Looking like it's going to flip to auto for at least a little bit in round number 7 for them, as they are down to 8 seconds on the clock. Yeah, I can't accept the call. Oh, great, something happened. Hold on. Let me make my pick, and then I'm going to figure out what's going on with my camera. And then we'll move on. Oh man, am I really gonna do it? A lot of decent options. Got to figure out why my camera is not working. Probably have to figure that out here in a second. I'm gonna just go on record. I'm torn here between the upside of James Robinson and Kadarius Toney or Drake London. I think I'm gonna take Toney, even though I don't like it. Now let me see if I can get my camera back. It's gonna do that thing. I know. Hold on. Let's go. All right, everybody get ready for your head to spin. And some echo. Boom. 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 There we go. Back to normal. Yeah. So and there it goes again. All right. So, like I said, I'll have to figure out a way to avoid the cell phone part of this next time. DeAndre Hopkins goes at pick 106. That's not a bad place for him to go, I don't think. You're getting a high-end wide receiver once he comes back from suspension. All right, so Joel, let's go over your team real quick. Tell us what you got.
All right, we got. Hold on, let me get to the right quarterback. Ended up getting Derek Carr, recent round. Wide receiver 1, Jerry Judy. Number 2, Alan Lazard. Running back 1, Najee Harris. Number 2, Travis Etienne. And at flex 1 and 2 so far, Mark Andrews and Ramondre Stevenson.
I like the Stevenson pick a lot. I don't know. You've got a lot of guys who have potential upside with Alan Lazard, Travis Etienne, Ramondre Stevenson. If they all hit, this is going to become a very good draft. Derek Carr, going to be solid, but a little bit of risk there. But that's going to be most teams in this type of draft. I've got Aaron Rodgers, Justin Jefferson, Cortland Sutton, James Conner, Chase Edmonds, Kadarius Toney, and Tony Pollard. I think my risk so far is Pollard and Kadarius Toney. So far, already 3 bye-week 9s for me, so probably something I got to keep an eye on. No, we are not taking a kicker in the 9th round, unless or 7th round, unless you're auto drafting. I don't think, or you're Nate. I think Nate did. Because that gives Chris an aneurysm when you see a kicker outside of like round 13 or 14 in a league like this. He has a little bit of a stroke.
Little bit.
Little bit. Almost to the midway point. This is going a lot faster than I expected, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Again, 38 minutes for almost 7 full rounds of a 16-team draft. Not too shabby. Of course, my phone's going to explode this year. I've done this before. Never had my phone go off during a draft. Now, using it as a camera, burp, 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 multiple calls. Yeah, thanks.
It knows you're using it as a camera, so that's why it's going burp, burp.
Yeah, it's super fun. I really appreciate it. So, world-ending talent on the clock to end round number 7. 7 of 15. So we'll be in the midway point round here in just a minute. How are you feeling? How do you like your team? Because I know there are drafts you go and you go, oh man, this really is just not falling correctly. And sometimes you're going, wow, this could not have worked out better. Where are you sitting right now?
Better than I ended up thinking initially, because I wasn't sure when I ended up having that first pick. But now I'm thinking it's a little bit better than I thought it was going to go.
Yeah. Let's go and look at Soul Boys. This is an auto-drafted team for what it's worth. Pat Mahomes, Stephon Diggs, Allen Robinson, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, Rashad Bateman, and DeAndre Hopkins. So far, just the 2 running backs. That's a dangerous play. The auto draft is picking for him. I do think it's going to kind of overcorrect towards the running backs here a little bit later. But that's a tough way to be right now.
Yeah, because the auto pick gave him Stephon Diggs and Javonte Williams, which was a definite boon. But then when you have picks like Bateman and Hopkins, it kind of balances it out.
What's tough in a league like this is in a 10 or a 12-team league, Javonte Williams in the 2nd round is fine, or early 3rd round is fine because it's probably not going to be your running back 1. Williams and Gordon is a terrible stack because they're on the same roster. They should both get enough run that they're viable, but Javonte Williams as your number 1 is not necessarily ideal in a league like this. And then having Melvin Gordon as the number 2, they're going to have to do some work on that one. Into round number 8, Chris Olave, rookie wide receiver for the Saints, off at 112. This draft is only 240 picks. We are just about halfway through. We might actually get this done before 9, which would be under an hour and a half, which would be a personal best for this draft getting completed.
Considering when it got the last, I think 3 years ago, with how long it took.
Like I said, last year we were in Massachusetts. Chris joined us because I was at his house. I was staying there, so he joined the stream with us. I think round 13, he literally went to the couch with his laptop and drafted like half taking a nap because of how late it went. And we had the draft before it that he wasn't a part of, but it is just such a long night. So this this is moving pretty good right now. I know auto drafts is not what a lot of people want to do. You're going to start seeing defenses. You're going to start seeing kickers come off very heavy with these auto picks. The auto pick will fill your starting lineup first on Yahoo. Other leagues, it will say, okay, well, we're not going to do that to you. But Yahoo likes to say, you don't want to show up? Enjoy your 8th round defense, 9th round kicker. Which also means, looking at Joel, there's 3 auto picks between him and this next pick. Some of these guys that are sitting towards the top end of this next available, best available field, they're going to fall to you. You're going to have options. So I know you like going after Alexander Madison. He's probably going to be there for you if that's who you want to go at that point. Not to call out your plan, but I know that's one of those guys you've always liked. And that may not be where you're going. Tyler Boyd, that's a sneaky good pick, I think. Tyler Boyd has some severe upside potential. All right, so let's go and, like I said, you're going to start seeing some kickers and defense come off the board. So let's go to Chris's team. We're going to mock it and make fun of it or more praise it, but probably the other. Kyler Murray, Keenan Allen, Elijah Moore, Christian McCaffrey, A.J. Dillon, Chris Godwin, Darrell Henderson. I'm going to say one word about this team. Risky. Not because it's a bad team, but Kyler Murray did have that ankle injury last year, slowed him down. Christian McCaffrey, well-documented injury problems. Chris Godwin coming off the ACL, and Darrell Henderson never really has been able to stay healthy. So it's been a tough go for some of his players, but if they all stay healthy, there's no doubt Christian McCaffrey is, again, if you can guarantee me 16 healthy games of Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor at 1 is the wrong pick. But you can't guarantee that. That's the big issue there.
Well, real quickly, if I can get this off before my pick in about 2 or 3 picks for Adam's team, Matt Jones, Deontay Johnson, Gabe Davis, Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, A.K., Christian Kirk, and then, of course, with Hunter Renfrow and Michael Carter wrapping it up.
All right, not terrible. Let me pull it up so I can see it. Mac Jones, Deontay, Gabe Davis, a lot of upside there. Alvin Jones, Kamara going to be fine. Kirk, Renfrow, Carter, risky. Again, a little bit of risk, but you're getting to that point where pretty much everybody you take at this point is not a slam dunk. I mean, James Robinson still sitting out there coming off the Achilles, but there's a lot of buzz. He's going to get his normal rollback. Huge risk with potentially league-winning upside if he is the James Robinson of old that was going in the 2nd or 3rd round. Unlikely coming off the ACL injury. Again, Alexander Madison to Joel. I know my co-host here. I know him very well. So I was like, I know where this one's going. I'm curious to see how far James Robinson falls.
Because I know Madison might have been a reach, but if I waited too long, he weren't going to be there.
He wasn't going to be there when it came back to you. I do know where I'm going with my next pick. I don't think the algorithm that rates the draft is going to really appreciate it, but we're going to go down here to potential sleeper pick here in Kenneth Gainwell of the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of buzz around injury for Miles Sanders.
So with the whole change with the flex, when you use a tight end, you can use either a tight end or a wide receiver.
Yes, you could use 2 tight ends. You could use them in your regular wide receiver, running back, tight end flex, and you can use one in the wide receiver, tight end flex. This was a suggested change, again, because of the depth of this league. You go past tight end 7, 8, week to week, it's a dart throw. You get to team 15, 16, you're looking at just nothing worth taking. TJ Hawkinson's still on the board. He should be gone in this draft at some point. There is going to be enough value there to draft him. Zach Ertz, probably the same boat. After that, Albert O for the Broncos, Pat Freiermuth, Cole Kmet. Maybe you would want to play normally, but they're nothing inspirational. They're nothing you're going to really want to put in your lineup too often. Then beyond that, Njoku, Hunter Henry, Irv Smith, Tyler Higbee, Mike Gesicki. All of those in the 16-teamer would be drafted. And I'm telling you, once you get to the end of that, you're not going to like what you get. So this is a way to try and balance
That'll
out the rosters.
sort of be like the box of chocolates that you don't like the
Yeah,
part.
you want to, at the end of the day, you want to make it so it makes sense and it's fair and it's fun for everybody, that you're not overwhelmed
Because
trying
that's
to
like,
figure out that position later.
because using my analogy, that's when all of the good chocolates have been taken and you open up the box of chocolates and you're like, yeah.
Yeah. Peddleman, okay, James Rob. I didn't know. I didn't think he was going to get back to me. If he would have gotten back to me, he was going to be the pick. But James Robinson, again, we just talked about the injury risk with his team. It's going to be interesting with James Robinson. Again, if he comes back healthy, not that people from the Achilles tend to come back healthy quickly. If he comes back healthy, this is the pick of the draft. If he comes back to this normal role, you took Etienne in what, round 3?
Mm-hmm.
And if James Robinson takes that number 1 spot back, that negates your pick in the 3rd round and gives Chris in the 8th round a guy with top 10 running back upside on a team that should be, I'm not saying playoff contender ascending, but they should be ascending this year. They should be getting better. Brian Robinson Jr. going here. That was someone in the back of my mind for the next couple of picks because, again, we talked Antonio Gibson, kick returner, number 1 for the Commanders. When he does get a kick return, he's probably not going to be on the field right after.
And there goes MVS.
MVS, a lot of upside there, especially with the Juju knee issue. He could be the number 1 wide receiver. Travis Kelce is going to be the number 1 option there. No
Claypool
doubt
off
about
the
it.
Board.
Chase Claypool is off the board. It's going to be interesting. I know what I'm going to do here in the next pick, unless this next pick really derails it, just because you're getting to that point where, oh man, it's just real gross. Double snipe, Chris with the damn it double snipe with Robinson and MVS. So kudos to Nick for that one. I'm sure we'll hear the fire in the comment bar here below, but text message between the 3 of us. Yeah, the double snipe. That's brutal, especially when you only have 2 picks between your last one and your next one. Joel has dropped for a second. He'll be back here shortly. For right now, let's hide this one. We'll get him back as soon as he is available. And we are waiting on JaiBet to make their selection. And it is TJ Hawkinson. That was going to be the pick if it stayed. So that's a good pick up there. Bringing Joel back in now. It is my pick, and now I have to figure out what I want to do here.
Hashtag technology.
Technology is super fun. So now I think it's time, if it's not going to be Hawkinson, that either puts me to, I'm going to take Zach Ertz because he's got enough value, but I've got James Conner, and I don't really want to do that. Or taking someone else like a J.D. McKissic, who's got that passing game work for the Commanders. And then there's just, let's see where we're mapping out, because one of the things you want to do in a draft this size is you really want to look ahead, see who's going to be potentially available down the line. We're gonna go with we're gonna take the risk that the other guy gets back. We're gonna go with J.D. McKissic. We're gonna pretty much wrap up our running back room. Kenneth Gainwell, J.D. McKissic, both pass catching running backs. Pollard,
absolute fun with that pair last year.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted Hawkinson. The value at that point was too good to pass up. JaiBet does take him, the pick before me. Can't be upset about it because it's the right pick there. I was just hoping he would fall back. There goes another kicker. We are in that window again. Kickers and defenses are going to fill out rosters. Some of these guys that are on the board with some time to spare, they're going to sit, because you're going to see the kickers and the defenses go to the teams. Cole Kmet at the tight end spot, that has upside potential. Don't necessarily love the Bears offense in any way, shape, or form. Maybe David Montgomery, maybe Darnell Mooney, and maybe Cole Kmet. They're going to have weeks where they're very, very good. The Bears are going to technically have an offense every other possession, so we'll see how that one goes. What's the reasoning on the Komet pick there?
Just all the potential that he ended up having. He ended up having a couple of weeks there where he really, I think, ended up performing more than you thought he was going to. I just tend to think carry that going forward.
All right, we have officially hit the hour mark of the broadcast. We haven't quite hit an hour on the draft on its own. Let's recap Zach's roster. Once again, he's done some mock drafts with us. He is now about to be on the clock again. Jalen Hurts at quarterback, Jalen Waddle at wide receiver with Brandon Ayuk, Joe Mixon and Leonard Fournette at running back, Marquise Brown and Dawson Knox in the flex positions, and then George Pickens on the bench. The kicker run is due to the autos, so we're going to auto picks are going to take those kickers. So it's about to be Zach's pick. We'll see what he goes. He's got his starting roster pretty much filled outside of kicker and defense. Oh, there he goes. Rob is losing his mind over kickers again. Kickers are technically people. I know Chris would disagree. Kickers are technically people. They do have feelings, and your hate for them makes them sad. Not that you care, but I mean, just they do. Devontae Parker off the board there. Back to Zach. Let's see who he picks up in round number 9. Starting to build the benches out here. Starting to find those sleepers, those diamonds in the roughs that you hope pan out at some point this season. There are going to be players that are drafted that would not be drafted in any other league. I do think I know where I'm going with my next pick. I don't love it, but I'm getting to the point where I know my priority has to be a certain way. So we'll figure it out here. Again, we are starting to get to that point where those tight ends actually are worth the risk, just because, I mean, they're going to be better than some of the other options. Right now, if we played a game, would you rather have Zach Ertz or Jacoby Myers? Joel, which one would you rather have between those two?
I think I would probably go Myers.
Really? Okay. Treylon Burks or Zach Ertz?
Ertz.
Okay. I figured that line wasn't far off because I'm to the point now where there's nothing on the wide receiver side I would rather have above Zach Ertz. There's some stuff that's close with the running backs, the quarterbacks, and the wide receivers, but Ertz is starting to get to that point where he's probably the most valuable non-quarterback on the board for expected points this season. In fact, if I look, he is right now the most projected points left on the board that is not a quarterback. So again, the value's there. He's still sitting there. If he gets back to me, it'd be hard to pass up. I don't expect that, though, with all the auto picks in this draft. But so far, still there.
There goes Tua. Tua to
infinity and beyond. That's fitting. That's at least naming your team correctly. If you're not going to go with something generic that you can put on a jersey, like I do and shouldn't have done, at least pick a team name that's got your player on it, the team. We saw one in a work league that is Hurts so good, and they do not have Jalen Hurts, and they have been mocked pretty heavily for that because change your team name. You don't have them.
Mm.
Anyways, just at the end of round number 9, that should be the last kicker for a little bit. I believe all the auto picks have taken one. Defense as well. So you should start seeing that ADP. There goes Zach Ertz. You should start seeing truck down that ADP list just a little bit. I would have been shocked if Zach Ertz had gotten back to me or Joel even. Back to, let's go to Joel's real quick. Positional breakdown right now. 1 quarterback, 2 wide receivers for Joel, and 4 running backs and 2 tight ends. So I'm guessing the need for the rest of the draft is going to be wide receiver heavy.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like it.
Yeah, because it gets tough if you only have 2 wide receivers or 2 running backs, to really make ends meet. Now, given you can play 2 tight ends, you can play 2 running backs in those flex positions as well. So not the end of the world. There goes Julio. That was a player I was interested to see how long he held on because he's got a lot of upside, especially we mentioned the Godwin ACL injury earlier. If Julio Jones can jump into that Chris Godwin role early while Godwin is not fully healthy, it's going to be an interesting dynamic. He might get some good play here later in the season. So, Joel, do you have any thoughts on a team you like so far that's not your own that you've seen?
Probably just coming off the top of my head, I'm just kind of would have to be curious to see how the New England Patriots tend to go on from had to, of course, move on from Brady. They've had Mac Jones. They had all of the players, of course, sort of opt out 2 years ago, and now all of a sudden that they had all of their roster back actually seemed to look fairly competent and decent. So it'd be interesting to see how well they can carry that forward now with actual more of a core.
Yeah. Should be an interesting season for the Patriots for sure. The Dolphins project to be a better team than them. I think the Buffalo Bills are undoubtedly a better team than them in that division. Patriots' run of playoff appearances and kind of dominance of the AFC East, I think, has officially come to an end. I think they will finish third in that division this year. Let's talk a little bit about the AFC West because that is the division everybody wants to talk about. Everybody wants to see who comes out on top. All 4 teams very, very good. You've got the Broncos adding Russell Wilson. You've got the Raiders adding Devontae Adams. You've got the Chiefs losing Tyreek Hill, but they were on top of the division. And then the Chargers just kind of stayed steady. And they did bring in some defense pieces in Khalil Mack specifically. But any of those you see as a clear front runner, or is it just kind of we have to see how these new pieces gel before we can make a call?
I really tend to just really want to see how Russell Wilson does with his new weapons. When you're talking Cortland Sutton, when you're talking Jerry Jeudy, all of a sudden being able to open up. I mean, it's going to be an interesting change from DK Metcalf, but it'll be interesting to see what he can do with some different weapons behind center.
Yeah, I think the key here is this is a coaching staff with a completely different mentality for Denver. Uh, Pete Carroll likes to ground and pound, play defense. He's kind of more of an old school coach in that way. Nathaniel Hackett coming from the Packers, you see what the Packers like to do. Aaron Rodgers, 2-time MVP, throwing the ball through the air. You think they're going to bring that through. They've got enough weapons. They've got 2 fantastic running backs in the backfield. I know people don't like Melvin Gordon because he's taking away from Javonte Williams' fantasy upside, but he's still a very good quarterback. You can't be too upset. Traylon Burks going to Joel. I do know my next pick because I'm pretty sure with the auto picks it's not going to happen. And I have a funny feeling I know the reaction I'm going to get from at least one person when this pick is made. I'm wondering if they figured out who it is yet, because Chris might not like it. Let's go, Romeo. Romeo Doubs getting a lot of hype in training camp. He will be the wide receiver 4 on my roster. Possible stack with Aaron Rodgers as well. Rookie wide receivers don't do super great with Aaron Rodgers historically, so this is a risky pick, but we're also in round 10 of a 16-team draft. So you're getting to that point where you just got to fill out your roster at this point. I know a lot was made of the Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp breakfast meetings. Aaron Rodgers, Romeo Doubs doing lunch. So if you believe the hype train from that, maybe there's something there. Isaiah McKenzie, that was going to be a sneaky pick down the line I was hoping to get, but no luck there. He's off the board to Jaibat. definitely running out of viable options, I think, though, Joel. I think that's a good summarization of where we're at, right?
Yeah, as you definitely have to ask a definite question that's a staple is guaranteed. Is CMC 101?
Oh, Michael Gallup after Jalen Tolbert. Back to back wide receivers from Dallas. Michael Gallup, if he is healthy, another great steal at this point of the draft. Jalen Tolbert, a lot of upside. And I'm just going to continue to say the draft board is getting shallow. There goes Sky Moore. That was someone who would have been on the board for me in the next pick, but I do have a few other options in mind that I
Yeah,
will
as,
be
of
pursuing.
course, round one it was Jonathan Taylor. Then CMC went two. Austin Eckler was three. Justin Jefferson four. Cooper Cup, of course, was number five. Dalvin Cook was number six. Derrick Henry, number seven. Najee Harris, number eight. Jamar Chase, number nine. Stephon Diggs, number 10. CeeDee Lamb, 11. Joe Mixon, 12. Devontae Adams, 13. Saquon Barkley out from the first round at 14. And of course, filling out round one, of course, was Aaron Jones and one DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I can't question too many of those. Maybe Barkley a touch early with all the injury concerns, but again, 16 teams. That would have been it would have been impressive to see him not go. Um, Second round, Evans, then Kamara, Tyreek, Travis Kelce, Leonard Fournette, Nick Chubb, Javonte Williams, Michael Pittman Jr., Mark Andrews, Debo Samuel, T. Higgins, Zeke Elliott, James Conner, Josh Allen, Keenan Allen, and Kyle Pitts. As I come back on the
Kyle
clock, there
Pitts
goes
actually going in the second round at the very end, but still the second
a
round.
lot of upside there, though. I mean, he could absolutely explode with who he's got at quarterback. Marcus Mariota has supported a good tight end in the past. So now we are at oh boy, let's see what's out there. Not a whole heck of a lot. Um oh man, it's just so gross out there. And I hate to do this. I really do, but is this wide receiver 4? At least it's wide receiver 4. Another rookie in Garrett Wilson. We'll hope for the best, expect the worst. We'll see what happens with Zach Wilson coming off the injury, and maybe he ends up being the number one there. Only time will tell. Joel, I'm going to ask a question. Who are you targeting next, and why? Because it's getting real bleak out there.
Oh my God, I've got my two choices right now. It's just yeah. Oh, right now. I'm choosing between Jarvis Landry and Nico Collins.
All right, all right. Hmm, I think I know where I'd go personally. Um, and it'd be for the younger player. That's just my opinion there.
So
But Jarvis Landry has a ton of upside too. There goes Nico. Injury alert. Not a big one. Ty Montgomery for the Patriots carted off. There are preseason games going on right now. But that is the only major injury I've seen come across so far. Ty Montgomery. He probably is actually so far down in this draft, he will still not come up. But carted off, likely a semi-major injury. So much for your Ty Montgomery shares, I guess. Going to the end of round number 11, just over an hour into this draft. Not what I expected for speed. Pleasantly surprised.
it's always nice when it's going faster than when you thought it would go.
Yeah, I remember this point last year, we were starting to like hunch over because it was on a pool table because we needed something that we could put the camera far enough to get Chris and I in the shot.
Not
And by the end of it, we're leaning over like, all right, this.
It's not quite Groundhog Day, but
Yeah.
pretty close.
Yeah, we were ready for it to be done last year. And I know you were in that same boat. We also had done the 10-team before. So back to back, we were about
We we
two and
we
a half,
weren't
3 hours of drafting at this point.
we didn't have the
We're
I
really
got
told.
you we didn't have the I got you babe song come on the radio yet but almost.
Yeah. So almost to the end of round 11, Tyler Algier would have. It's an interesting pick. I don't know if he's going to have a lot of play. It doesn't seem like he's getting the buzz he should. But Tyler Algier off the board here in the end of round 11. 3 more picks to go. And this is the part of this draft where you go, I mean, I don't like anything.
Have we hit the dartboard category now?
Well, this is the part where, like, I sometimes will be like, I'm going to go and get the kicker now, or I'm going to go get the defense now because I really don't love any of the options here. Let's take a shot. I don't like doing that. There's usually 1 or 2 guys that are worth it. I do see at least one guy on the board that if he falls to me, I'm going to take them there. This is also not the worst league to take a backup quarterback in because 16 teams gets real skanky real quick on that waiver wire. There's just nothing but stink. I mean, we're already down to that point where there's not much out there for quarterbacks. Let's play a game.
Carson Wentz is still available.
Well, before you mock Carson Wentz, let's look at the next best options based on the Yahoo rankings, at least. Number 1 available, Jared Goff. Number 2, Jameis Winston. Ryan Tannehill 3. Carson Wentz 4. Marcus Mariota 5. Then Davis Mills. Baker Mayfield. That's a name that could be interesting. And then, of course, Deshaun Watson. Suspended. Probably shouldn't be drafted in any capacity. Mitch Trubisky, Drew Lock, Geno Smith, Jacoby Brissett, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, backup. Desmond Ridder, backup. Sam Darnold, backup. Teddy Bridgewater, backup. Jimmy Garoppolo. Potential starter somewhere else, but not for the Chiefs, or not for the Niners. Probably not for the Chiefs either, but not for the Niners. Then Taysom Hill, quarterback, tight end eligible, does get fairly interesting in this because if he gets that quarterback slot, we do have that flex that he could play, but it's also unlikely he usurps Jameis Winston.
You're not going to be looking at the timeshare that happened last year.
No. It's unlikely he gets any play at quarterback this year. But it wouldn't be a bad idea to stash him, see what happens. Not saying that's my next play, but it's definitely in the range of outcomes if he's there a little bit later in this draft. But let's look at let's have some fun. Let's start with a wide receiver.
Jared Goff is off the board.
Jared Goff off the board. Ryan Tannehill off the board. So that second string quarterback run might have just started. Wide receivers best available: Kenny Golladay, Rondale Moore, DJ Chark, Corey Davis, Robbie Anderson, KJ Osborne, Kendrick Bourne, Jahan Dotson, Mecole Hardman, Wan'Dale Robertson, Van Jefferson, Paris Campbell, David Bell, Marvin Jones Jr., Curtis Samuel, Joshua Palmer. I think at that point below that, you got Christian Watson, another rookie for Green Bay that's a little bit interesting. But there's not much beyond that. You start getting to the Marquez Callaway, Byron Pringle, Randall Cobb, Brian Edwards. You get to the guys that might not be on rosters.
DJ Chark, yeah.
Antonio Brown, Calvin Ridley, Cole Beasley, T.Y. Hilton, guys who aren't going to play. So it's getting to the point where if you don't have wide receivers you like, good luck.
Kind of interesting that Mo Alley Cox is on the board because he actually didn't do too bad.
No, I don't know if he's the starter there or the primary tight end option. They did draft Jelani Woods. They have another rookie that's been making noise in camp. And again, you don't need a tight end in this league. You can go without. So I'm wondering how far Kenny Golladay falls at this point. He is number 3 on the overall board behind Everett and Jameis Winston. Kenny Golladay is not a player I want. Especially since I already have Kadarius Toney. I don't want to double up on Giants. It's not an offense I really believe in to begin with. But Kenny Golladay is just a little ugh. I don't want it. Jameis Winston off the board with out of nowhere. So this is, again, you're getting to that point. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more picks left. 2 bench, kicker, defense for myself, and I believe that's what you have, Joel, as well. So time do you want to take that backup quarterback? There goes Kenny Golladay to Figure Ballers. So he falls to 182. If Kenny Golladay returns to what he was in Detroit, that's fine, but seems fairly unlikely. I know Joel is not taking DJ Chark. He has been hurt one too many times. So spoiler alert, the next pick will not be DJ Chark. Rondale Moore goes. Baker Mayfield, not a bad selection there. Next three being auto picks. You're probably looking Chark, Tunyon, and Samaje Perine in that order. There it goes, Chark. There goes Perine. Maybe not Tunyon. Possibly. There's Tunyon. All right, so now, oh boy, just gross on top of gross on top of gross. Let's go with another rookie with potential upside. Johan Dotson. Need the wide receivers. I've got three rookie wide receivers. Kadarius Toney in his second year, and then Justin Jefferson, Cortland Sutton. So I'm hoping at least one of these guys can step up and be a wide receiver 1 or 2 on their roster and be playable. Remember, in this league, a wide receiver 2 is in the top 32. A wide receiver 3 is in the top 48. So I think at least one of those, maybe two. I think Doubs, Wilson, and Dotson all have potential to get up.
Is Marlon Mack at all rosterable?
In this league, yes. He might be behind Dameon Pierce on the depth chart as of right now. If an injury occurs, he's probably the starter, given it's not a good offense, but it's also pick 190 right now. At this point, he is free. If you draft him, you go after the waiver wire fire after week number 1. This might be someone you would drop if you draft Marlon Mack at this position or anytime the rest of the way.
Okay. What about Sony Mitchell?
No. I believe he's the running back 3 for the Dolphins behind Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert. If I'm going to take a running back that's not a starter in this league, he has to be a backup with a line to work. Marlon Mack, Dameon Pierce has played 3 preseason games. We don't know durability with the NFL level. We don't know how he's going to fare once you get into real live action, once you're not behind or not playing second and third string guys. So Marlon Mack, I think, has upside where Sony Michel really doesn't. He wasn't inspiring by any means with the Rams. He was serviceable with the Rams last year, but not great. I don't see a lot of use for Sony Michel.
Okay, another name that was definitely on the waiver roster last year. What about this year? Is he rosterable? Deontay Foreman.
He had some good moments with Tennessee when Derrick Henry went out. So I don't know the depth chart for Carolina too much. I believe he is behind Chuba Hubbard, who is behind CMC. So again, that third string running back, not necessarily someone I'm looking for. I'm going to say this for myself. There are a couple running backs that get interesting. There's a couple running backs that I might even want to take a shot at, just hoping for something to be decent. But it's going to be guys like Zamir White, the rookie for the Las Vegas Raiders. Eno Benjamin, who is the backup in theory to James Conner. And a name to keep in mind, it's not a great name, but it's Mike Davis. There goes Eno Benjamin off the board. Mike Davis, Dobbins not a guarantee to play week number 1. He's going to be eased back in after the ACL injury. Mike Davis, early season, is going to get some opportunities. Maybe he does really well, maybe not.
Okay, another name that still on the list, definitely was a part of the roster last year, Mo Alley Cox, and he was definitely on the waiver wire top.
Yeah, he's in this type of league, he's not rosterable. You're just not getting enough value at tight end, especially tight end somewhere in like the 16 range. So I wouldn't take him here. It's just a little too pricey, and just not quite worth it.
Okay, here's a definite name that was on the waiver wire and definitely actually probably helped some people out in their leagues last year. What about this year and Ernest Johnson, especially with the quarterback craziness going on right now in Cleveland?
I think what's interesting about Ernest Johnson is the Kareem Hunt requesting a trade aspect of it. Because if Kareem Hunt does get his way and gets traded out of town. All of a sudden, Dearness Johnson is the backup to Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb does have a slight injury history. He's going to get an opportunity or two. But it's not great. But it's an option here. You're playing for the trade potential. Again, anybody you're drafting at this point, if you're not
It's a
kicker
dart
defense, it's a dart throw, and it's somebody that, okay, let's go and say Kenny Pickett somehow gets the job week 1. You waited on quarterback. He goes out and puts up 35 points. Anybody you draft right now is going to be in that ballpark of someone you're going to drop to go pick up that rookie or that player who just wasn't drafted, catches fire in week 1, and you want the rest of the way. That's what we're drafting right now. You're drafting dart throws and waiver wire fodder. Someone you can drop to get someone better down the line.
Okay, here's another name that was definitely, once again, on the waivers. We remember from this name from last year, still on the board, Boston Scott.
Boston Scott's interesting. I took Kenneth Gainwell. I do believe Kenneth Gainwell is going to get more work this year than he did last year, but Boston Scott was very good last year. Kenneth Gainwell should get some passing work. Miles Sanders dealing with the hamstring. It's going to be an interesting dynamic there. I am on the clock, and I'm looking at not a lot of good options. So my thought process here would be, do I go and get a Noah Fant who's got potential upside, or a Mecole Hardman who's got a lot of upside, which is going to be the pick, by the way, possibly. Or do I go and get that backup quarterback, because a league like this, you're going to need some depth at quarterback. Another name that's interesting is Devin Duvernay. Of course, no Hollywood Brown in Baltimore is going to open up some targets. But I think, you know what? I think I'm going to play the odds of waiver wire fodder and go with a quarterback. I'm going to go and take I think I'm going to take Marcus Mariota. No, I'm not going to take Marcus Mariota. I'm going to take Davis Mills. Davis Mills of the Houston Texans was the second best rookie last year behind Mac Jones.
Figuring somebody's got to be back up when they suck.
Yeah, God forbid Aaron Rodgers goes down with a major injury. I would rather not be playing off the waivers and hoping Mariota, Deshaun Watson, Zach Wilson, Mitch Trubisky, Desmond Ridder, I would rather have someone that's at least got a little bit of experience, has got no threat to their job, no suspension, because Mariota has Ridder, Trubisky has Pickett, Flacco has Wilson, all of those on the board. Locke and Geno Smith. Jacoby Brissett's a temporary starter. Mecole Hardman, not a bad pick there. I don't blame you for taking it, but I felt the backup quarterback was a bigger priority. I don't like saying that, but anything smaller in a 16-team league, I don't worry about it. Almost there. Only 2 rounds and 6 picks left. We might get this done by 9. I haven't even had to crack open the Gatorade yet. This is ridiculous. I was expecting to actually have to work.
This is trying to make up for all the tech problems.
I do want to point out a pick here by Zach. Tyrion Davis-Price for the San Francisco 49ers. He's a rookie. San Francisco uses a ton of running backs. Is he going to be an every week starter? Of course not. Why? Because you don't necessarily know who San Francisco is going to play week to week. Should be Elijah Mitchell, but Elijah Mitchell has had some injury concerns. Who's second up? It could be Davis-Price on a team that runs the ball like crazy. So that's a very sneaky good pick that goes around Robbie Anderson, Dontrell Hilliard, Mark Ingram, Darrell Williams. So I do want to give that one a special mention as being a pretty damn good pick at pick 204, I think it was. All right, into round number 14. Joel, it's kicker and defense time. I don't think a whole lot of surprises coming from here on out.
I just actually saw a movie blurb. Are you ready for this?
Oh boy.
Entertainment news. They're rebooting and doing another reboot of the Fantastic Four.
Well, that's been known. That's been out there. They announced that at I think D23 or something. That's what, early 24? I think that's when it's coming out. They were supposed to be announcing the cast soon.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like to
Yeah, that's been
myself,
known.
I last time I was trying to watch it, there was a movie that couldn't exactly get through it.
Um, I will say this: Marvel has been missing of late a little bit on their new releases. They haven't been terrible, haven't been as good as they were. I mean, they built to Endgame, of course. But when they've tackled a project that was done prior, you look at your Spider-Mans and some others, they've done pretty well. I mean, there were old school Captain America shows and movies that were terrible, and the new ones were pretty good. So I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt that this is gonna be better than the old Fantastic Four, which also had Chris Evans in it, by the way. And eventually, they're gonna bring X-Men in, so we'll see if that's gonna be pretty good. Yeah, we've gotten to the point of the draft where we're not even talking football anymore because we're the kickers and defense.
Yeah, it's like to the point of I'm like, I don't know, should I do? Oh well, then my defense is apparently off the board. Yay, okay.
Yeah. Random question. Not that it's super important. Would you go defense before kicker?
Yeah,
Okay. I tend to go kicker before defense with the simple fact that if I draft a kicker, especially saying I know who I'm going to take if they're there, I'm going to have them for 10 plus weeks unless they get hurt or completely suck. Um, not a big deal to take them early. The defense at this point all suck anyways. So
kicker injuries were more brutal last year, if memory serves.
yeah, I mean the way you draft a kicker is you go to a team, you go, they're going to have a good offense, and then I go, which one of these good offenses has a kicker that has the latest bye week? So in this case, I'm looking Ryan Suckup of the Bucks with week 11, Dustin Hopkins of the Chargers in week 8, Brandon McManus of the Broncos in week number 9. That's not a huge deciding factor. Then the next one is you sort it by projected fantasy points. Those are the top 3, all within about 2 points of each other. So in this case, I'm going to take Ryan Suckup of the Buccaneers. That's as much analysis on the kicker you're going to get from me. Yeah, fantasy point projection. When's the bye week? Good enough.
So that's the person who I queued.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson off the board. I was tempted to take him, but again, if Rodgers goes down in week 3, I'm screwed. Rodgers goes down week 12. Hey, I got Deshaun Watson now. He's past his bye week and past his horrific suspension.
If you have your top 2 players get injured pretty much in a 16-team league, you're screwed.
It's tough. I mean, the year Kareem Hunt got suspended was the year after I won this the first time. And I want to say second in the league. And Kareem Hunt was a second-round pick. He got suspended. My team was shot. The backup had already been claimed because it's 240, 256 picks, whatever it was at the time. And you're done. I mean, you can be good at waivers. You can be good at finding those diamonds in the rough if you want. But at the same time, it doesn't take a lot to miss. And once you lose the wrong guy, you're pretty much screwed.
Well, it's kind of nice when I get to see a highlight from the quarterback that I just drafted, Baker Mayfield, connect with Shi Smith with a 19-yard touchdown. So
Baker Mayfield's going to get play. I don't mind that as a backup. He was someone on my short list. I was kind of hoping for Wentz. I was hoping for Mayfield, but I'm going to be going with General Davis Mills. I don't love it. But again, you don't draft Aaron Rodgers and then get another quarterback going, oh, I'm going to play the matchups. No, it's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers bye week, Aaron Rodgers. So, and there's a very good chance after week 1 when I go to the waiver wire to try and pick somebody up, whoever pops if they're on the waivers, Davis Mills is going to be the drop.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
so
That's one
defense is
thing
coming off the board as we enter round number 16. 3 minutes till we're an hour and a half in, so I think we're going to just miss that mark. But then again, we're at that point where it's pretty easy to just go and just take whoever. Let's see. Trying to find who's got a
that should
good
that should
mojo week one.
almost be a setting that you just pick the button and it's like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, yeah, we're to that point where who cares? I don't. There's not a really good defense left out there. I mean, there is one solid defense out there, but they don't have a great opening schedule. It's not bad, but it's not anything you really want to go running head first
the fantasy
into.
football equivalent of cricket chirping time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down to a defense, so I'm literally looking just at the week one schedule, going, what team has a very easy matchup week one? There's not much out there. I would have liked the Browns. I would have liked a couple other options that just went off the board. Cincinnati was one of them, but no luck on that. So we're getting to the point where I might have just found a real sneaky option that could blow up badly in my face if I do it. Because I don't think I'm going to have the stones to make this pick. But, yeah. I was thinking Jacksonville because they play Washington week one, but they play the Colts week two, and I don't love that. Ideally, with the defense, I'm trying to get someone I can play for 2 weeks to start the season. So I've got a couple options I don't love, but we'll see what we wind up doing. Let me look at week number 2 one more time. And then we'll make our pick. And my drafting night will have concluded, which is not too shabby of a time frame. Where are they? I don't even see them. Oh, no, I don't like that. All right, going Homer. Let's go Dolphins. Patriots week one. Don't fear that offense necessarily. We've had a lot of negative press about them. Week 2, Baltimore might be time to start looking at the waivers to try and play those matchups because it gets real bad. Ravens, then Bills, I think, is the week 2, week 3 for the Dolphins.
Oh, you like this one. Dak hints at a big pass catching role for Pollard.
Yeah, that's the whole point of drafting Tony Pollard. You're not expecting him to usurp Zeke Elliott's role. Now, Zeke goes down. Tony Pollard is a top 10 running back. I'm going to go on record right now, and hopefully we don't see it for anybody who's got Zeke Elliott, but definitely if he goes down, I'm going to be very happy I have Zeke Elliott. So down to the last few picks of round number 15. Wondering why my screen just got all orangey. Like went into night mode, I guess. Yeah, 9 p.m. went into night mode. Got to protect your eyes from that blue light, apparently. All right, so let's go over some teams here before we wrap up. We will start with the number 1 overall pick who has wrapped up the draft. Kirk Cousins, Mike Williams, Robert Woods, Jonathan Taylor, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kyle Pitts, Dameon Pierce, Brian Robinson Jr., Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Michael Gallup, Isaiah Pacheco, Eno Benjamin, and Carson Wentz. Will Lutz in the Cincinnati defense. Very, very solid draft all around. Again, I've drafted enough with Nick to expect nothing less. This will be a team that is contending the whole way.
All right, next up will be Julian Pedelman. That would be Rob's team. His quarterback, of course, Kyler Murray, Keenan Allen, Elijah Moore, Christian McCaffrey, CMC, A.J. Dillon, Chris Godwin, Darrell Henderson, James Robinson, Chase Claypool, Jalen Tolbert, Sky Moore, Wandale Robinson, and wrapping things up with Joshua Palmer, Rodrigo Blankenship, and of course, Cleveland.
Yeah, so this team we mentioned earlier, some injury risk with Christian McCaffrey, Chris Godwin, and Darrell Henderson, and also James Robinson. But I like Chase Claypool, Jalen Tolbert, Sky Moore, and Wandale Robinson for that upside. Again, I have 3 rookies on my roster. That is 3 rookies right there with Tolbert, Moore, and Robinson. You don't need all 3 to hit, but if you can get one of them, that's going to be a huge steal. Another solid team. someone I expect to make the playoffs again. 8 of us do make the playoffs. The other 8 will
And
not.
if you read Jaibat's team, then I'll read the Sharks.
All right. So for Jaibat, Josh Allen, DJ Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Austin Eckler, Kenneth Walker III, Amari Cooper, Devontae Smith, TJ Hawkinson, Isaiah McKenzie, Matt Ryan, Sony Michel, Marvin Jones Jr., Evan McPherson, and 2 defenses, New England and Minnesota. Again, in a deeper league, you can get away with that double up at some positions like quarterback and defense. You might not want to do it at both, though. So I know you're not high on DJ Moore. I'm not high on Amari Cooper. Kenneth Walker, if he gets the starting role, is going to be a great value. But there's a couple issues with this team that I don't love. Hawkinson was a good steal where he got him, though.
Not high on a player. That was because you've had a personal experience that season with a player really letting you down big time, especially with me with DJ Moore. Of course, flying Ryan style Florida Sharks, checking in after the draft with, of course, QB Aaron Rodgers, Justin Jefferson, Cortland Sutton, James Conner, Chase Edmonds, Kadarius Toney, Tony Pollard, Keenan Gainsworth, Kenneth Gainsworth, J.D. McKissick.
He gains well.
Just better than gaining less. J.D. McKissick, Romeo Dubs, Garrett Wilson, Johan Dotson, David Mills, Ryan Suckup, and of course, going homer with the Miami Dolphins.
Patriots in week 1. Again, they'll be dropped after week 2, but they were a great defense. They shut down the Ravens last year with Lamar Jackson. They have upside. Don't necessarily love all of these picks, but I think between Tony, Pollard, Gainwell, McKissick, Dubs, Wilson, Dotson, I'm going to find enough to round out those couple of flex spots every week and be solid. I think it's a playoff team. Let's skip over some of these auto drafted team and jump to Joel. Our little draft window here will close in a few minutes. We're going to change these screens around as well.
Okay, so to my team now. You're muted. Can't hear you. You are silent.
Go to this other one.
There we go.
Yeah. Anyways, because the mic I was using was actually the one for the camera on the screen, I closed that one. I now have to use the camera on the phone, and I still have to hear it through this one. So
okay, so you want me to go over my team?
No, I got it.
Okay.
Derek Carr, Jerry Jeudy, Alan Lazard, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne Jr., Mark Andrews, Ramondre Stevenson, Alexander Madison, Cole Kmet, Traylon Burks, Nico Collins, Baker Mayfield, Nicole Hardman, Dustin Hopkins on the Baltimore defense. I like the Andrews pick. I think it's going to return the value you drafted it at. You just have to get lucky and have Ramondre Stevenson or Traylon Burks, Nico Collins step up to be that wide receiver flex every week.
And, of course, the big question is how much of an upside will Cole Kmet return?
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one.
And, of course, the big gamble, if anything happens with Derek Carr, you have to wonder, what's going to happen is with the destiny of one Baker Mayfield, of course, in Carolina.
Yeah, we're going to go back so it can use the mic and the normal camera real quick. Baker Mayfield, I think, is going to be fine in Carolina. It's just going to take some time for them to get integrated with that offense. Of course, they didn't want to start. Yeah.
What's the next theme you want me to go over?
Are you not able to hear me again? Or can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I
okay,
can hear
good.
You.
Anyways, let's go to Zach's. We've done a lot of drafting with him. I want to try and get at least some of these auto. We're not going to worry about the auto pick team. So let's go to Zach.
Which one is Zach?
He is Scoregasms R Us. He was in the 12 spot.
Okay, boom, got you. All right, so Zach, of course, we start out with Jalen Hurts, Jalen Waddle, Brandon Ayuk, Joe Mixon, Leonard Fournette, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Dawson Knox, George Pickens, Jacob B. Myers, Jamal Williams, Isaiah Spiller, KJ Osborne, Tyron Davis Price, Chris Boswell, and of course, Philadelphia in on the defense.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts has a quarterback one upside if he really hits that well this year. Brandon Ayuk's getting some pretty good hype as a potential breakout candidate. Jalen Waddle was the all-time receiving leader for rookies in receptions last year, so you got to think with Tyreek, it's going to help him out quite a bit. It's going to take some targets away, but I think it's also going to open them up. Mixon, Fournette, Marquise Brown, Dawson Knox. I think the starting lineup is very solid. This is going to be a very good contending team as well if they can stay healthy. That bench is going to need to get a little bit lucky to have any relevance. But when you have a good starting lineup in this type of league, you're not going to have to worry about it. Let's go to Corbin's Tua, Infinity, and beyond. Russell Wilson, Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf, Saquon Barkley, J.K. Dobbins, Michael Thomas, Dallas Goedert, Tyler Boyd, Tua Tagovailoa, Khalil Herbert, Jarvis Landry, D. Ernest Johnson, and Trey Sermon, with a kicker of Matt Prater and the Los Angeles Chargers defense. Had to click it to see it. I like the starters until you get to about Michael Thomas, Dallas Goedert. Again, in this type of league, if Thomas stays healthy and is back to normal, that's going to be a good pick. Goddard. But then you got to get lucky with one of those backups, I think, to fill that second flex.
Yeah, you actually have, if you look at it, three major injury concerns. Of course, Saquon Barkley trying to come back with just a absolutely brutal offensive line. Dobbins, of course, is injury coming back from last year. And even Michael Thomas. And the question is, how recovered is he ready to go behind Jameis Winston, who's also recovering from that absolutely brutal injury that ended his season earlier.
Yeah, fortunately, ACL for quarterback not as impactful as it is for wide receivers or running back, so he should be coming back just fine. Let's quickly go over the last two. Big Daddy Cheeks. Go ahead.
That's Adam's team, of course. Starts up with one Mac Jones, Deontay Johnson, Gabe Davis, Aaron Jones, A.K. Alvin Kamara, Christian Kirk, Hunter Renfrow, Michael Carter, Double J Julio Jones, Ryan Tannehill, one Dontrell Hilliard, Devin Duvernay, if I said Duvernay, it's easy for me to say, and Amir Abdullah with Young Hae Ko and Dallas in the defense.
Yep. I like the Gabe Davis pick. I don't love Mac Jones this year. A lot of rumors that offense is going the wrong way. That's part of why I took the Dolphins defense at the end of that draft. Kamara, if he does not get suspended, will be a good pick without Aaron Jones. But week number 14 is going to be a little rough for Adam as he only has 5 rostered running backs. 2 are pure backups. Michael Carter with that maybe running back 1, but he might lose his job. But Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, both with bye weeks of 14. So if you play Adam in week 14, it's going to be in your best interest or to your advantage, at least, I believe, at that point. And then last one we want to go over is Figure Balls. This is Nate Team. He joined us late. He started as an auto pick and then took over from there. So Tom Brady, CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin, Nick Chubb, James Cook, Darren Waller, Devontae Parker, Pat Freiermuth, Austin Hooper. That's 3 tight ends on this one. Kenny Golladay, Mark Ingram, Marcus Mariota, 2 kickers, Justin Tucker and Graham Gano, and the San Francisco defense. Now, Justin Tucker, first kicker off the board, fine. He's going to have an advantage to that position as long as he's got it. And the San Francisco defense starts pretty easy at defense. So I like the starters. I'm not big on CeeDee Lamb, but in this type of league, I mean, you got him in the second round. I can't really complain too much. They're going to need to figure out that flex position. Devontae Parker has upside. It might have to be one of those, well, I got Mark Ingram this week, Pat Freiermuth next week, and make it worthwhile that way. So any other teams you want to highlight? We only have this window open for another minute and a half, and then we'll basically just have to go back to the league page.
No, it was actually a quick draft, or a relatively speaking fun draft, and it's time to get it on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, so let's go to the roster breakdown. We have 2 teams only drafting 1 quarterback. That would be Chris and Zach. So 2 people we've worked with on here a few times. 7 wide receivers is the high water mark by position, and that is also on Chris's roster. He has 7. 3 running backs. That does not include what could be that flex. It may be another flex. 3 is pretty much standard across the board. Zach has 5 as well as Adam and was 14 was Corbin, also with 5. Everybody with 1 flex, a couple with extra tight ends. That's the interesting one. 5 teams with an extra defense and 4 teams with an extra kicker. So for the most part, no overdrafting of the kickers and defense this time, which will at least let some waiver potential, some waiver value in those positions down the line if you need them. All right, so we're done with the draft. We have officially started the fantasy football season. Joel, I don't know about you. I know I've got at least 3 drafts left, probably 4. Got 2 up north next weekend, then the Megala Bowl, and I'm supposed to have something work related. So, getting to the end of draft season. Before we go, let's look at the matchups for week number 1. We're not going to have the report card yet. So, overall, favorites in week number 1. I am favored over Adam. Nate and Edwin pretty much even. No quitters a little bit over $5 foot long. Zach is actually projected over Nick, which is interesting. So Scoregasms are us over Hell's Kittens, who had the number 1 overall pick. It's only a 3.5 point margin, so not too bad. GMS World Ending Talent, very, very close. The closest matchup is Jaibat and Julian Peddleman, both projected at 118. One is 118.8, one is 118.08. So that's going to be probably the best matchup week 1. Jaibat slightly favored. Joel, the biggest favorite of week number 1, 118.56 to 106.37 over Soul Boys. And then Stay Mahomes slightly favored ahead of Tua. So highest projected score of week number 1 goes to me, 124.42. That's the high projected mark for week number 1. The low is Joel's opponent in Soul Boys at 106.37. So, yeah, that will wrap this one up. Joel, I know it's been an hour and almost 2 full hours now of live streaming this. Do you have a final thought you want to hit, or is it, okay, we're done?
Well, my final thought is I'll just good luck to everybody in the league, and thanks for drafting, and let's get it on.
Good luck to everybody. I'm really hoping this doesn't go anywhere else. I do have to celebrate one last time honestly, once you draft, the reigning title kind of goes away. So this is now back officially up for grabs. I'm going to hold on to it for safekeeping until we have to pass it on, like 9-10 years from now, hopefully. But best of luck to everybody, unless you're playing me, because then I want all your players to suck and not get hurt. I just want them to suck. Don't worry. And we will see how this all goes. We'll keep this one front and center all season long. So very tired. It's been a very, very long couple of days with these drafts and everything else going on. So I am Flying Ryan Gilchrist, along with
Tampa Motor Mouth Joel Verone, but I do want to give a definite shout out and thank you to Flying Ryan for dealing with behind the scenes all of the tech hassles and setup and everything that you've had to go through to get everything to work through. So I just want to give you an official Sports Shuffle major, huge thank you.
Yes, happy to do it. Happy to have some fun doing this with you. And of course, now we're at draft season. It's all very exciting.
Working with technology can drive you insane sometimes. Yep. Trust me, I know.
We are less than 2 weeks from opening night of the NFL season. We are only 13 days away. So with that being said, looking forward to
playoffs.
We're looking forward to some time off from podcasting. We will not have a show next week unless something really crazy happens over the weekend. I will be out of town Tuesday through Labor Day, so we won't have another show that week. Going to prepare for Chris's wedding, which is what we're doing.
Unless something major breaks.
If something super major breaks, I will have at least enough to go on. Then again, I have my...
Not Tom Brady being the Masked Singer. That won't count.
The Masked Singer's not released that early. We won't know that for a little while. But yeah, out of town. And then once I'm back, Megla Bowl draft is the supposed to be September 6th, 10 p.m. Joel, I don't know if you're going to jump on that with me to live stream, but I might do it myself just to kind of have some fun with that. And then normal show Wednesday, the day before opening night, Bills at the Rams. Rams raise the banner against the Super Bowl favorite for this year in the Bills. So it's here. It's finally here, and we can all enjoy football season. It's just around the corner. Last few preseason games right now, and enjoy those as best you can enjoy preseason games at least. So, Joel, take us out.
All right, get the chicken wings and get those ribs ready, and it's time for some football, kids.
Are you ready for some football? We go.